Alright. The invasion of Poland in September 1939 began war in Europe. Roosevelt persuaded Congress to pass what was called a cash and carry provision. This allows nations to buy U.S. arms and transport them in their own ships. And so they began selling weapons to allied nations for cash. As the Axis threat rises, Britain gets more support from the United States. The Axis powers are making great progress across Europe. France fell to Germany in 1940. The Axis powers were formidable: Germany, Italy, and Japan, hoping to avoid a two-front war. FDR is going to scramble to support Britain. He's going to provide 500,000 rifles and 80,000 machine guns, along numerous ships. Meanwhile, Roosevelt is going to have Congress increase spending for national defenses and begins reinstituting the draft. And FDR will run in 1940, also run for an unprecedented third term and win. Many voters are unwilling to switch presidents during such a volatile time in history. And so here's the Electoral College where Franklin Delano Roosevelt defeated Wendell Willkie in the 1940 presidential election. There's somebody you don't hear about much. You can see he had almost a landslide. Not quite as many. You can see here where some were very much against him. Alright, so to support Britain, FDR is going to establish a Lend-Lease program, or Lend-Lease plan, which meant that the U.S. would then lend or lease arms to nations whose defense was vital to America. And the United States became known as the Great Arsenal Democracy, supplying weapons to fighting democracies. In June of 1941, Hitler broke the agreement he made with Stalin in 1939. FDR began sending Lend-Lease supplies to the USSR, and German U-boats traveled in wolf packs at night, torpedoing weapon shipments headed for the Britain and the USSR. FDR would okay warships to attack German U-boats in self-defense. Late in 1941, FDR and Churchill met secretly and agreed on a series of goals for the war known as the Atlantic Charter. Among their goals were collective security, disarmament, self-determination, economic cooperation, and freedom of the seas. And this Declaration of the United Nations was signed by 26 nations, creating the United Nations. While tensions with Germany mounted, Germany lands a surprise attack on the American naval base Pearl Harbor. Japan has been expanding in Asia since the 1930s, and early on the morning of December 7th, 1941, Japan bombed the largest American naval base, Pearl Harbor. So, here's an image of Pearl Harbor as one depicts it. This is actually an image from the 2001 movie Pearl Harbor, which is not that great of a movie, really. The attack killed 2,403 and wounded 1,178. The U.S. will declare war. This surprise raid on Pearl Harbor by 180 Japanese planes sank or damaged 21 ships and 300 planes. The losses constituted more than the U.S. Navy had suffered in all of World War I. The next day, FDR will address Congress. He says that yesterday, December 7th, 1941, is a date which will live in infamy. The United States will declare war on Japan, and 3 days later, Germany and Italy as well. Now we were highly resolved that these dead shall not have died in vain. Remember December 7th. Pearl Harbor was the worst attack on U.S. soil until 9/11. Alright. Alright, the Holocaust. So, yeah, well, I'm going to cover this another time.